Hello there, and welcome to another edition of Megacast TV. My name's Jake, and I'm joined, as always, by my co-host extraordinaire, the wonderful Trace.
I'm good, thank you. How's yourself? And who else do we have, Jake? Let's tell.
We're joined in the studio by a very special guest this evening. It's the wonderful Vanessa, who is a friend of ours, but is also quite passionate about autism because her kids suffer from autism, if suffer is the right word.
Yeah. Well, it's not suffering, it's a neurological, I don't want to call it disease because it's not. It's a neurological thing where something in the balance doesn't quite tick. So it's you can say, yes, it's suffering for us sometimes. Not all the time.
So how does it affect your kids, and have all your kids got it, Vanessa, and which ones have it?
No, it's only one. It's only one. I've got two that haven't got it, and I've just got the one. Day-to-day life with me. It depends. It's rough road. You have your highs, you have your lows, and you have your in-betweeners.
But how does it impact on the kids specifically?
It does, because when he has his bad days, and I do admit when he has his bad days, it does affect both my children, because his bad days are very, very bad, and he could do something to either one of them or myself. So I have to make sure that everything's on an even keel for the oldest and the little and the middle one as well. So
are we allowed to use his name? What's his name?
Yeah.
Is it Kyle?
It's Kyle. Yeah. Absolutely fine. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah.
And do you find that then, that when he has his bad days, can he be quite aggressive then in his nature?
Yeah, he can. It's his bad days would entail that he can't find the words, and it gets frustrated over the slightest thing, and it could go. People sometimes call it bad temper tantrums or anything, but our terminology is meltdowns. And when he has a really bad day, it could be where he'll headbutt the floor, he'll headbutt a door, he'll headbutt stairs, he will bite himself, he will literally hit me, he will hit his sister.
And that's how is it, because he can't tell you what he needs. And do you find that happens when you change his routines? Because I know a lot of them don't like routines changed.
No. The best bet is with me is if you pre-warn them before, like a day before or 2 days before, and that something's going to happen, you pre-warn them, they're fine. If it happens on that day and you haven't had chance to pre-warn them,
like something that happened.
It could trigger. It could trigger anything. It could. He's also with this. He's suffers with sensory issues as well. So is
that like a sensory deprivation, or is it the other way?
No, he can't stand loud noises. So we have. So we have ear defenders for him. So if it's really loud or anything like that, he can't deal with it, and he retreats. In the house, if there's something that he doesn't like a extractor fan, if the noise affects him, he will immediately. And you're in the middle of cooking something, and the extractor fan, you have to put the extractor fan on. He doesn't like it. He will go and turn that off, and you'll go, hang on a minute, don't touch that. He'll run off and retreat to his room. Any like loud pitches, like a fire alarm could go off, and he's immediately like this. That's a demonstration of but that's what he does. That's immediately what he does.
So in the house, is his safe room his bedroom? When he gets there, can you calm him down there?
Yeah, sometimes we can. Sometimes it all depends on sometimes I've known them to go on for 2.5 hours, maybe more, where he's just frustration and he can't get out what he wants. And if he's loving his Wii U, and we're forever buying batteries. Now, over first lockdown, and I think we were 2 days in. And I completely forgot about batteries. And he had a complete meltdown, started throwing stuff because he hadn't got any more batteries. And he was literally on the floor, headbutting, kicking, punching himself, biting himself, because of batteries. That's what it was. And I couldn't go anywhere.
That must be quite distressing for a mum to have to watch and go through.
Yeah. Because I can't, when he's in that mode, I cannot get anywhere near him. So I have to sit on a chair. The kids are either in another room or in the dining room, and they have to stand by and just watch him go through it. It's awful, because I want to go in there, get in there and cuddle him and say, it's okay, but you can't, because fists will go flying and I could end up getting hurt, which I have had. I've had him, I've had bruises, I've had scratches, I've had him smack me in the eye.
Does that worry you because obviously as he gets into his teenage years and gets a lot bigger lad, he's going to have more.
Oh, he has. Oh yeah. I'm fully ready for it. And as I said, he's 14 this year, and already he has where he's got really, he tries and pushes you and pushes past you or pushes you, and I'm going, don't do that to me. I said, mustn't do that to me. I said, Mummy loves you. And it's not like where the older kids call me mum. It's always mummy, and it's always daddy. That is the terminology, because he's also got global development delay, where he could be an age range of a baby to a toddler. So on the outside, he's a 13-year-old, and on an inside, he could go through any stages that he wants. At the moment, he's age range in between a 3 to 4 year old.
So that leads me on to my next question, Nessie.
Yeah.
Obviously, there are different types of autism. What type does Kyle have? Do you know?
It is just straight down the middle autism, where he is on the severe side. He can talk, because there's different types you can get. With the very, very severity of it, there is non-verbal, which means they don't talk, they just make funny sounds and everything else. But he's more of he can talk and he can do string sentences, but also he mimics. Now, the mimicking side is where he can't process what you are saying to him. So you have to break stuff down. It's like if I said to him, what did you do at school today? He will immediately repeat that back to me. So you have to break sentences down for him, where you say, or you give him an option and you say, did you have a good day? And you say yes or no, and he will tell you yes or no. Or different other scenarios. You've got to give him that chance of an option of which one it is. Sometimes you will just get an immediate no, like a stroppy teenager, but he's not, because he gets upset over something. When Kyle got diagnosed at 3.5, there's a big umbrella of it. There's a huge umbrella of it. There is Asperger's side, which is they can walk and talk, sort themselves out, but it's sort of like a very mild one. You've got a medium level, and then you go to the severity, and then you've got a very high level, which is a very severe one, where they basically can't do anything for themselves at all. And Kyle is on the severity side, where I have to supervise him 24 hours a day. And that includes showering him, that includes making sure he's okay. I'm on call 24 hours a day, basically.
So do you believe, Nessie, that especially nowadays, there are people that are just jumping on the autism bandwagon just as an excuse for their child's behaviour?
Yeah, it depends. There could be lots of excuses for it, but as I've said, we noticed a lot of differences. He wasn't hitting milestones, and that was through the health visitor. And the reason why we got a diagnosis for him was because most kids don't flap their hands, but with Kyle, he does this a lot. When he gets angry, he does this a lot. Or he flaps his hands or gets all excited and claps his hands and everything else. We got that diagnosis. I had to fight for it, but we got that diagnosis at 3.5.
So, Ness, who does that? Do you go to see someone that's
paediatrician?
Oh, okay.
You can go to your GP. When we did it, we went to a multidisciplinary assessment team, where there was two paediatricians, 2 health visitors, and a speech and language person, and a physiotherapist as well, if I remember correctly. And you all sit in a room, and I think it's about a 2.5 hour or an hour and a half assessment. And you watch your child around these people, and he's looking at you as to say, what the hell are they doing? And you're looking at him as to say, it's okay, it's okay.
So his body is growing at the normal adult rate, I assume.
Yeah. His puberty is rife in this house.
Right.
That would be hard for him as well, because he's not going to obviously understand that. So that's going to be another frustration and another problem.
Well, let's just say we're having a lot of teenage stuff that he does. A lot of teenage stuff that he does at the moment. And we're having to use words like hands away, or anything like that. And he knows if he's doing that, then we say hands away, and then we make him immediately wash his hands afterwards. But there's a lot of stuff that on the outside, as I keep saying to people, and people don't understand. On the outside, he's 13.
Yeah.
On the inside, he could be
9,
a 1-year-old,
yeah.
He could be a 4-year-old, or he could be even a 5-year-old. And he didn't actually call me mummy until he was like 3. And then he just looked at me and pointed at me. That's what he used to do. He used to point at me, and I say, yes, darling, what you want? I'm mummy. And I think after a little while, he kept going, mummy. Yeah. And he kept going, mummy. And it was the first word he ever said was mummy.
Hi, Jake here, letting you know there's new content every Sunday right here, only on Megacast TV. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Hit the bell to keep notified about future videos. Now, back to your viewing.
So, Ness, I bet then you felt like you touched his world a little bit, like you'd enter, because they're in their own little world, aren't they? They don't.
He still is. He still is. He's in his own little bubble, and sometimes you don't. You look into his eyes and you don't know what he's thinking. Sometimes he'll say, "I've got," and he'll screw up his face for no apparent reason, And you'll say to him, "What's up, darling?" And he'll look at me as to say, "I'm not sure." And we call it a fuzzy head. That is one way we can describe it to him when his brain, something's not quite right in his brain. And we say, "Have you got fuzzy head?" "Yeah, I've got fuzzy head." And that's it.
So what happens if he's poorly? How do you find out? Like, if he's got a headache, obviously your other children say, "Mum, I've got a headache." How do you know when Carl's got something wrong, like a toothache, a headache?
When he's poorly, we've had a few episodes where I can't get near him at all. I cannot get anywhere near him. It's his dad he'll want. So what I have to do now, this may seem funny to people, but what I have to do is I have to find something of his dad's, put it in the front of me so I can go and cuddle him. So it's got his dad's scent on him, so that he'll think, "That's my dad," and he'll allow me to cuddle him. Because if I go in with mummy scent on me, he won't allow me anywhere near him.
I've just found out, Nessie, about the sunflower lanyard scheme. Have you heard of that? Yeah.
Yes, we've got
I've been talking today to my sister because my nephew's got Asperger's and he's 18. He's 18, so he's able to go out on his own and do things on his own now.
Yeah, Carl won't be able to.
And there might be times while he's out in public where he might have a meltdown on his own and be nobody else around. He might kick and scream and be physically violent as well.
Yeah.
And so I suggested to her that she gets one of these lanyards so that people are aware that actually, he has issues.
Hidden disabilities.
Yeah.
This is actually from the hidden disabilities. And I have got, which is a badge as well. He calls this his medal, which is a face covering exempt. So when we take him out somewhere, we say, "Don't forget your medal." So he proudly puts that on so that it covers him from getting any questions or anything like that, or I get questioned about it or anything like that, because that was my worst fear when this hit us. And I said, "What am I going to do?" I said, he's not going to cope. And someone said to me, "Go on hiddendisabilities.com and get yourself a lanyard, get yourself whatever." So what I managed to do was, and it wasn't expensive at all. What I managed to do is I got 2 lanyards, and I've got one with the exempt from face covering, and I've got one with autism on it.
It's worth pointing out as well to anybody that's not heard of these that, for example, I have ataxia. So my ataxia charity that deals with ataxia also do the ID badges specifically for ataxia. So if you've got a disability that's specific to you, maybe it's worth checking with that charity to see if they do those ID badges.
Yeah, most definitely.
There's even one for bipolar, you said, didn't you, Jay?
Yeah.
Which would be good for me to carry about on my scooter. Have you ever raised any money for the autism awareness?
Well, you should say that, my dear. Dun, dun, dun. There you go.
For autism.
There you go. I had taken part in the Walk for Autism Challenge, which was this year. I've got to think about this now. Yes, I took part in the Walk for Autism, which was for date started from the 26th of March, and it finished on the 2nd of April, which I had to do 10,000 steps a day for 8 days.
Wow.
And I did it. I cracked 107,000 steps in over 8 days. And for my great rewards and my lovely sponsors, there you go. One said certificate, which I raised in total £350.88.
Now, is that donation page still open at the moment, Ness?
No, they closed it now. For the 30th of April, they closed it. But, and I'm going to do a big but, next year I am taking part again. I'm doing it again next year because, as I said, this charity is very close to my heart. So I am going to be doing it again, 10,000 steps for eight days. So to complete it all, you've got to reach the target of 80,000 steps. So, which I did. I absolutely smashed it, and it was fun. It was brilliant. I loved it. And I got my daughter out for 2 days.
Are there any out of school activities or clubs they can join to mix with others who have similar difficulties and give you a bit of a break?
There is, you can easily find out, i.e. through local charities. There is one called SNAP, SNAPP, and that covers all different disabilities. You can find, if you look in your local areas, you will find different autism charities. You will find different places to go. And also, if you're struggling and at your wit's end, I'm going to say this from the bottom of my heart, don't suffer in silence. Just knock on every door you can do, even if you have to get hold of the social services disability team, which I did. It took me 3 attempts, and the last attempt I did it, which will help you get direct payments. I had to think then, direct payments, which means it entitles you to a support worker, or as we call it, a personal assistant, which will give you a respite break from anything from 2 to 4 hours.
Have you learned, so that when he gets bigger, are there places you can go to learn like restraint moves so that you're not
we were taught straight off. So when he gets too aggressive, we get behind him, but they say there's different restraint techniques, and they do say don't hold them too tight where you're going to cut off their air supply. Get it to them so that you're quite close to them, but to protect them from hurting themselves, and that you sit them there for a few minutes and wait till he's calm.
Just to wrap this up now, if you had a piece of advice for parents who are currently going through diagnosis or going through this situation, what would be your final words that you would say to them?
Don't suffer in silence, because you're not alone.
It's been absolutely amazing speaking to you. I mean, I could have gone on for another 2 hours regarding this subject, and I know you probably could as well, because you do like to talk.
Yes.
But seriously though, thank you for coming in this evening. And next year, before you do the Walk for Autism, let us know when you're doing it, and we'll do like a pre-walk interview for you, just to get you promoted and out there.
Yeah. No, absolutely fine. As soon as I say, it'll be Walk for Autism 2022, and Nessie goes off trundling again. Okay.
So that's about it from us here at Megacast. We hope you've enjoyed the interview, and we thank Nessie once again for her time. So it's a very good night from me. I'm going now. Bye.
And thanks, Ness. What a real honour. And you'll catch us again soon. Remember, be bold, be beautiful, and be unique.
Look, the mop attack has gone. Shortness has come in.
Doesn't look any different.
Eh?
I said it doesn't look any different.
Sod off. That's before even recording.
Still looks a mess.
I'm gonna be polite.